Hello, everybody. You are tuned to the Sexy Asian Dragon, and it is me, Pacific Ocean Asia, coming to you on a Monday morning. Oh boy, I'm going to get in trouble with this one. I'm trying something new, folks. Something totally new. We've admitted things. And many of my fans are going, uh-oh, is Pacific going off the deep end? No. I was talking to a fan this morning. And for those of you that are not on my Facebook, I will be honest, I have posted pictures with clothes on of girls holding each other, kiss each other. I have admitted to my viewers that Pacific has definitely seen pictures of two women kissing each other, even videos, and I find it attractive. Let me say something to my viewers so they don't misunderstand me. Pacific believes homosexuality, lesbianism, all that stuff is wrong. But how many of us can be brutally honest with ourselves that we live almost a bipolar life, even as Christians? I remember when I first became a Christian, I would hear somebody cuss, and it would bother me that I heard that, because I'd be like, oh, don't say that, don't laugh at that joke, don't look at that image. I remember when I was first a Christian, my conscience was very, very tender, and the Bible does talk about having your conscience seared as with a hot iron, and we can do that. That's a fact. But what do you do before you're a Christian? You have all these desires in you, and you become a Christian, and all of a sudden those desires are still there. And we can get into talks about, well, you're supposed to crucify the lust of the flesh, make no provision for the flesh, and we know all that. But then there's another verse in the Bible that says, change my heart, O God. And it says the heart is desperately wicked and deceitful above all things. Who can know it? And that is true. And I have found that through my Facebook, through my channel, through talking to other people, that there's a lot of stereotypes out there that are no longer true. Let's talk about lesbians. Admittedly, we've all grown up with the two butch women, and we knew that no guy was going to ask them out for a date. And then we turned around as kids and said, wow, look at those butt ugly looking women, and they're lesbian, oh my gosh, and we all judged them, right? How many of us men and how many of us women looked at them and said, what were they supposed to do? Were they supposed to wait on God to provide them a man? I mean, can we be honest about something? It is really easy for good-looking people or handsome people who don't struggle with these things to look from the outside in and go, boy, there's something wrong with those people. Can I be honest? There are men and women that are born out there that have not graced with good looks. Can we just admit that? It's easy to make a glib, pious, sounding good, fake statement and say, well, all people are beautiful in God's eyes. I don't believe that. Can I be honest? There's a bipolar in me. There's a dichotomy in me. God does not wink at sin. God does not look at sin and go, wow, that's lovely. We as fallen humanity do. Can I be brutally honest to my viewers? So scintillatingly honest that I'm sure some viewers will go, man, I'm not even going to listen to this channel anymore. I understand that. Part of talking about my Christian faith is not saying I give a rounding endorsement to certain things. Part of me talking about my Christian faith is that what I'm struggling with, you cannot go to God and say, well, Pacific says it's okay for him to struggle with this, so therefore I'm going to. No, you have to take ownership of your own individual struggles with sin. Feminism, the way people are today. And yes, even hearing Pastor's sermon last weekend that we're not supposed to feed our lust, to starve it. I understand all that, but can I say something? Can I be honest and say sometimes I don't want to? Can I say that I ask myself and go, why? Does Pacific deliberately want to sin against and incur the wrath and anger of God? Number one, I won't incur his wrath. I could incur his discipline. That's a fact. The Bible says there must not even be a hint of sexual immorality among you. Can I say something? I want you to find me one male viewer on my channel right now that doesn't struggle with sexual sin and temptation in his mind. And I'll tell you that the ratio and the percentage is minuscule, if there is such a thing. Can I tell you that more and more women, Christians that I know, admit to having been turned on by seeing two women kiss, embrace, and remove each other's shirt, unbutton the blouse, and explore each other's breasts? Why do we deny this? Why do we, as Christians, pretend like that's bad, that's bad, that's bad? I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to. Let me tell you what a viewer of mine said this morning from overseas. I'd be so embarrassed to admit what you're admitting. He typed in there, naughty, naughty, Pacific, because I posted some pictures of two women with perfectly firm breasts leaning towards each other to kiss. Just pictures, with clothes on. I said, are you mad at me? He says, no. He said, it takes guts to do what you do. Do you know how many of us Christians live our lives in fear of what others think more than what God thinks? And then we hide behind that. Oh, the Bible condemns that. That's wrong. God's going to judge you. Can I say to my viewers, this is one of the reasons I don't feel qualified to go in the ministry? Because number one, I can't play the game. I am glad my videos help people, but I'm afraid that when I say the things I'm saying here, that many people are going to go, man, I'm out of here. I hope that people can be honest and be strong and allow me to be me and to let me work through things. Pacific is never going to promote pedophilia. Pacific is never going to promote homosexuality. You might say, but you're promoting lesbianism. Okay, if you want to say that, I'm admitting there are pictures that stir me. I'm admitting that there are things that stir me, and I'm trying to work through that. Pacific is never going to promote drugs. Pacific is never going to promote murder and death and mayhem and the crazy stuff that goes on. But what happens when a man talks to a woman on Facebook last night who is very committed to her boyfriend, who admits, my boyfriend has admitted he's turned on by two girls. I've admitted that I'm aroused at the idea. Are we supposed to be puritanical in it, wear chastity belts and think I'll never look at images, I'll never do that? Well, technically, yes. But does that really stop the raging fire within our hearts? I asked a pastor once at a church. He's no longer the pastor there, but it was a church here in Lakewood. And I said, how do we change a heart? He says, you can't. Only God can. How many of us Christians try to play this little religious game before God? Well, I'm not going to look at that. I'm not going to look at that. But deep inside, that fire's raging. Oh my gosh. Can we just be honest with God first? Can we look at our fellow man and say, okay, if people reject me for this, let them reject me. People are people are people are people, and they will come and they will go, and there will be people that will thumbs up me and thumbs down me and tell me, oh my gosh, you're terrible, you're awful. The gypsies of the world will have fun with a video like this, as well as her so-called friends. I've met those people in real life. There are people like me that don't want to be around them. Is it because they're closer to God? Is it because their behavior is convicting to us? No. It's because they're self-righteous, they're stuck up, they're arrogant, and they act like they don't have any sins or problems, and yet you can see it just hanging all out of their life. I would rather be around people that are real. I admit. Would I want to be around a guy who's trying to promote drugs on me? No. Are there people that would say, well, Pacific, you're promoting something I don't agree with? I understand. If you feel that way, then you are free to go. Is there something wrong with me admitting that seeing two beautiful women eye each other, embrace, kiss, that I find that unbelievably irresistible? Everybody's different, and everybody has to find ways in which they're going to contain themselves and work through things. But I find that most people put up a religious veneer, even those people on my channel. We go, we out there vocally with our church friends, with our Christian people, act like, yeah, I've tried to be tight with God, and we would never admit these things. Can you imagine going into church on Sunday? How you doing today? Well, last night I looked at lesbian porn and I really enjoyed it. Would we go into a church and tell people that? But we go in there, and this is what we do. I'm so glad I'm a part of the family of God. We struggle because we want to love God. We want to get intimate and close with Him. But yet, as I read in the devotion this morning, I meditate on thy law continually. I love thy law. And the devotional writer says, do we really? She admitted, I'm constantly thinking of getting an A on my college term paper or my exam, and I'm not consumed with the law of God. Sometimes, viewers, I'm consumed with looking at pictures of beautiful women. Sometimes I'm consumed with that. And there are women out there and men that will go, see, you got a problem. Let me tell you something. No problem is solved by religious conviction. The Holy Spirit is the one that convicts, and He's the one that can change us. But too many of us put up this veneer. We rage and struggle deep within, and then we pretend it doesn't exist, and we throw a bunch of Bible verses at somebody, and we've got to be very careful about that. Or we cherry pick stuff. I am thankful that I have the freedom to be who I am on Facebook. And I want to say to my viewers, don't be offended. If you have to bow out, if you have to go, ooh, 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 don't reject me. Say, okay, I'm not going to look at this for a while. I'm not going to put stuff up that is going to be inappropriate in the context of sheer nudes. Can't do that anyway. But it was encouraging to talk to a woman last night that admitted, I am totally straight, but I admit the pictures, or I've seen this stuff, and I find it very arousing. Many women have told me that. They're not man haters. They're not feminists. They're not rebellious Jezebels. And we've got to be careful about making a stereotype. I have even said on my videos that all these lesbians are probably feminists. A lot of them are. But there's a lot of girls that admit to being bisexual. And it's easy to condemn and say, well, how did they get there? I don't know. But I'm going to tell you something. We're not going to win any of them over by just heaping condemnation on them. The way two women are with each other is amazing to me. I hate to say this. I hate to say what I'm about to say because people are going to go, oh my gosh, are you really saying that? Yes, I am. Men can learn from that. Men typically are not good lovers. They're not sensual. They don't know how to please a woman. And I've heard this all my life from female friends I've had, that men got stubble, they scratch a woman's face, that they got bad breath, they got BO, they come home from work, the hairy underarms, and they're all over their woman. They're all sweaty, and the woman's going, ooh, ooh, ooh. And to see two women that are clean and smell good and shaven, how can you not think that that is beautiful? I'm going to say something to my viewers, and it is sinful. When I made love with women in Hong Kong, one of the things they told me over and over is, man, no man has made love with me the way you are. You are so sensual. And I said, you know where I got that from? Watching some lesbian porn. They laughed and they said, oh, you finally learned. Could it be that one of the reasons that a percentage of the 50% of all marriages are ending in divorce is because men have this private hell? Women won't be honest. And why is it when women start going to church and have an epiphany with God and get saved, that women become very judgmental, very self-righteous, very condemning, start touching less, and then just start heaping condemnation on all men? Where does that come from? Can I say I don't know? I went on a date yesterday, viewers. This is going to shock everybody. She was 66. I would not have a year ago said, oh yeah, I'm going to go out with a 66-year-old. She's a woman that goes to church. She wears a wig. She's lost a lot of her hair. For her age, she looks good. She is slender. She's petite, very small-breasted. She looks like with age, somebody who could have worked for Hollywood. She's got French blood in her. She's from Chicago. And I had met her a month ago and found her interesting. I don't think she's a Christian. Right now, she's studying religions. She's very astute. I took her to lunch. We went for a drive up Black Canyon in Colorado here and just had a nice day. Nothing inappropriate. She called me last night and we talked, and I will tell you, she's had hip replacement. She had scoliosis. She had 6 children. They're all grown. Her 2 daughters are drop dead gorgeous. She showed me and she said, could you believe I have such 2 long black hair, curves, absolutely stunning. She said, and they're humble. And they're both married off. This woman is very intriguing, very interesting. She's got almost a Hollywood air about her, but not an arrogance. Me coming from California, I thought, she's the kind of woman that if I was driving in a 2-door Mercedes down the Pacific Coast Highway with her shades on, I took her to the restaurant. Not one person looked at me funny because she looks very good for her age. She is shorter than me, and she walks a little bit difficult, but yet she walks. She asked me if I would be her walking partner. Now, before my viewers think, are you going to run off and fall in love with her? No, but I find myself attracted to her. And what I'm learning as I get older is we put a lot of stereotypes and generalizations that sometimes are shattered. She had scoliosis, and she's had a lot of back surgery. And yet, you know what came up in her that really shocked me? For somebody who's not a Christian, she has not complained once. She's renting in a man from the church who's 77. There's no hocus pocus. He has a house, and she's renting a cheap per month, a nice room in the basement, and has the run of the house. There's nothing inappropriate. And she told me that, things could be worse. And she goes, my body could eventually give out, but I just keep going one day at a time. She's happy. I noticed when we were in the restaurant, when a mother come in bringing the baby, she goes, oh, and talks to them. And I noticed she was even more outgoing than me. Made conversation with the waitress. She was extremely kind. I thought, how many Christians are that way? I stood in line at Joann's Fabrics yesterday. My ex-wife texted me. I think she's trying to be different towards me. So I'm going to go with that. Let's hope that stays. She said they got pendants for sale, 50% off. And she knows I like to buy those because she's seen me wear them and asked me where I get all this jewelry. And it's not jewelry. They're pendants at the craft stores. So I said, thank you for the tip. I'm there now. There was a long line. There was a fat, overweight woman, shorter than me. I get to take one look at her face and her body language and thought, yep, I'm a bitch. Her 2 kids were just being kids and, don't touch this, don't touch that. And I understand that. And I made a comment to her. I said, wow, this is the longest line I've ever seen. She would not turn around and acknowledge me at all. I was like, okay. And she was slumped over the cart. She had the I'm in control position. You could tell when she's looking out of the corner of her eye, she just looks steely. Pacific looks at things, and I look at stuff, and Christians also make generalizations that aren't true either. Oh, they're miserable. They're miserable. Can I say something? There are some people in the world that are living it up, and they're not miserable at all. People say that people that do lesbian things are miserable. I've actually met women that said, I actually had more fun kissing my girlfriend than I did going out with that hot guy Friday night. There's a church sign out there that said, I kissed a girl and I liked it, and now I'm in hell. How many lesbian or people that struggle with bisexuality are going to feel comfortable darkening the doors of that church? So, Pacific, are you saying that a lesbian couple should come in with their arms around each other? No, you need to be appropriate when you go to church. Yeah, you got your desires, but you shouldn't be acting it out in the church. That wouldn't go over well. But even our pastor said, I hope that the people in this church, that if a prostitute shows up in here, that she'll feel the love of God. Pastor doesn't condone the behaviors. He told a story that years ago he came into a donut place. And he'd get his donuts real early in the morning, and it was when the prostitutes were finishing up their shift. And he overheard a bunch of prostitutes sitting at the table, and the one girl said, Yeah, well, next week's my birthday, but do you think anybody cares? Nobody cares about me. It's just another day. Pastor went up to the donut shop owner and said, I want to have a party next week. I'll pay for this stuff, and I want people to recognize her birthday. And the donut shop owner, the manager, said, okay. And he went to one of the other prostitutes after a girl left and said, we're going to celebrate that birthday. Are you in? He got a cake. He did everything. And the next week he was there, and the place was filled with prostitutes, pimps, and everything. The place was booked up. Dunkin' Donuts. The woman started crying. She was touched, and she said, nobody has taken the time to do this. Thank you so much. And I know everybody expects me to eat the cake, but can I just take it back to my place and enjoy looking at it for a while? After everybody left the store, the owner came up and said, what kind of a pastor are you? He says, what do you mean? He says, I've never seen this in my life. And he said, what you just did, he said, I want to go to your church. And our pastor said, how many ministers can say I celebrated a prostitute's birthday? You know, I have found that when I make a bold statement out there in public, that sometimes it's like parting the Red Sea, and some of us brag about that. Oh, I said that, and that offended and convicted somebody. No, some people actually just go, well, I'm not going to be open and honest with him because I'm struggling with this, and he's just put up that big wall that says, I don't approve. Have you ever just listened to somebody just pour their guts out and just say, that's interesting. I still accept you. I don't like the axiom, love the sinner, hate the sin. I'm tired of that. Because if we're honest, sometimes we just hate the sinner. We don't struggle with something, so it's easy to look at somebody else and go, boy, that's disgusting. There's a guy at work who's flaming gay. No, I'm not attracted to him. I'm done with that. I worked that out. Done. I have no interest in doing anything. I don't want a man to touch my back, massage me, nothing. I don't want men telling me I'm good looking. I have gotten through that. So now the next phase is working through my desire of seeing two women. It may or may not pass. Who knows? But I'm not going to play a game before my viewers. I'm not going to play this Sally Self-Righteous Pacific Ocean Asia Christian here where I will say that this stuff is sin. But it's time for us to admit that all of us struggle with some form of sin in one way or another. And we go to church and we put on our game face. And I think it's time to be very brutally honest about things. And there are some people that cannot handle that. That's fine. But when a viewer this morning tells me, I could never do what you do, why not? Jesus said, fear not him who has the power, or fear not him who can kill the body. Fear him who has the power to cast you into hell. Do you know what that means? Let's be honest, we fear what others think. I'm sorry, but when you're looking at porn and you're masturbating, do you know that God's right there? Right there. If you're a Christian, he's right there in the room with you. And we think because the lights are out, we're down in the basement, nobody sees. Are we serious? But boy, if we were to have that televised on a screen at the end of our block and say, look at what Joe Barber's doing at 1622 4th Street South. And people will be standing in the street going, oh my gosh. Yeah, we're going to play your video next. I'm out of here. It's not that we flagrantly, boldly, like the gay pride parades, just flaunt it. No. But why do we as humans put on a game? Why do we fear the rejection of man more than the rejection of God? God sees everything in us anyway, and as a Christian, we're made righteous, and he has made us accepted in the beloved. Do you think that God's up there on his throne? Oh, Pacific looked at a video of two women kissing each other, removing their bras. I'm done with him. I'm done. See ya. You're done. He does not. And many viewers will come back at me and say, well, he can discipline you. He can swat you. He can do that. Yes, he can. Does he always discipline us, or did I come to Christ with all those desires in me to begin with anyway? I'll be honest, the first time a friend of mine from high school brought me a Playboy of two blondes, pictures of blondes kissing and sucking, and I admit, the first time I saw that, I was like, that is just downright beautiful. Can I be honest with you? It is beautiful to see two hot-looking women being intimate with each other. It is lovely beyond words. It's sinful, it is wrong, but it is absolutely lovely. It warms me from the inside out because the intimacy between them is phenomenal. But I don't want to see two men doing that. Yeah, but they're being in it. No. Why is that? I don't know. I've got viewers that go to church that are in Asia, that are in America, that have admitted to having bisexual tendencies, men desiring other men. And yet they have a love for God. They don't feel free to come out and talk and confess. But my channel's brought a bunch of these people together, and somebody say, oh, that's great. Pacific's just attracting homosexuals and lesbians. No, I'm not. I'm attracting people that aren't into any of that. And I hope that my men and women on the channel have their big boy pants on enough to work through my stuff and not just go, oh, I'm out of here. Agree to disagree. Agree to disagree. As one woman said, 80% of your videos are good and 20% are what the heck. This is going to probably be in the category of what the heck. Stay with me. We're not doing what other people are doing. I am not a pastor. This is not my flock. Let me make that very clear. You're my viewers. You're my fans. And I care about you, but I am not your leader. I am not your shepherd. I am a man communicating to you out of my heart, my experiences, my knowledge of God's word, my knowledge of watching people, my knowledge of what I've been through, and I give that to you. You need to submit to a pastor. You need to go to a church, and you need to read the word of God, and you need to pray to God. And the first thing you need to do when you pray is stop playing games with God. Oh, God, forgive me. Why don't you get down and say, God, I admit I am irresistibly drawn to this. It is absolutely beautiful to me. God is going to say, thank you. It's about time you finally admitted what I already know. You enjoy it profusely. People are afraid to do that. We kind of come to God, yes, God, I admit I sinned today. I lusted. Why don't you own it deeper? You think God's going to go up there and go, oh, you just admitted that. Wow, I'm done with you. He sees it anyway. Viewers, this is Pacific. I'm made of clay too. Yes, the world is changing. And it's easy for us to think, oh, God's going to come, God's going to come. But we as Christians have got to start being honest. Did you know there's many women out there that are happily married, love their husbands, raising their kids, and they have admitted to me, I admit, I would love to kiss another woman. What do we do with that? We just go, oh, they're a feminist, they're this. I don't know how that happens. But I don't know how it happens at a very young age. I was fascinated with two girls. That never left. And as a Christian, this has only come out what's already been there. And I'm not going to mention the name of the viewers. A lady talked to me last night. I admit, I like the pictures of those. Can I admit to you, my viewers, I'd love to have a woman be involved with a woman that if she looked at me and said, I admit, I'm attracted to other girls, I'd say, cool. That wouldn't bother me a bit. But then again, I'm tainted too. I want to say something to my viewers that many guys are going to say, I want this wholesome Christian woman that's a virgin. Most of you men out there have had the same struggle I do, and I'm going to tell you, if you get involved with a woman like that, you are going to have a titanic struggle that you will want nothing to do with. Women that haven't been down this road are going to be very harsh on you, and the relationship is going to be rocky as hell. I would rather marry a converted prostitute that is honest about her own sexual struggle than a gypsy any day. Relationally, being involved with a gypsy persona would be tough. Because instead of fearing God and letting God work through you, you'd be afraid, oh my gosh, I don't want my wife to know that I looked at this woman and lusted today, or I struggled and I masturbated in the toilet over somebody else. I'm sorry, I want a wife where I can go to her and say, I just saw this hot girl walk by and I'm feeling horny. Can we make love right now? I'd like her to smile and laugh and go, so was she hot? Yes. Well, good. Just don't touch her, okay? Come on, honey. I want a woman who can be real with me. So real that a woman can say, that guy's handsome down the street there. Oh, we need to be jealous for our love. But I want us to know something, that being involved with a self-righteous person, especially when you and I have been down the roads we've been down, it's not gonna work. Interestingly enough, Maharani is a virgin. And she's admitted that she struggles with dark things. She saw French movies where there was homosexual acts and girl on girl and guy on guy and three-way and all this. And she said, I admit I found it arousing. Can we say that, oh, the movie made her that way? No, it just simply drew up in her something she didn't know existed. Now, I admit, movies portraying that shouldn't be. The porn industry shouldn't be. But the reason the porn industry exists is because we're connoisseurs of it. Simple as that. And it's easy to yell and scream, shut down the porn industry, but those desires will always be raging in us. Even if I don't look at that stuff, I can go through work and I can fantasize mentally over another woman. It's just a reality, folks. And I'd rather have a woman that can look me in the eye and say, I love you so much, honey. And even though you struggle with this, I'm still going to love you. You get around a lot of white Christian women in this country, and they explode when they find out their husband masturbated at somebody other than them, or they caught him looking at an image. What women need to ask themselves is, number one, are you doing things that are pushing him that way? Number two, did you really expect when you married that man he was going to be perfect in every way? And when I was talking about the love of God the other day, we don't always get the love of God right because we don't know what love is ourselves. That being said, let's get real. Let's take the gloves off and let's be us. I'm doing something unconventional. I know some Christians might find that offensive. I'm not trying to offend you. If you have to take a sabbatical and say, Pacific, I'm going to take a break from you, do that. If you feel the need to reject me, okay. But I hope you'll be bigger than that. Now, I'm not here to create a stumbling block to anybody. I'm just simply bringing out what the collectivity of a lot of my viewers have told me, both in chat on Facebook, both in the comments, this and that. The reason most of you are all here is because I'm real. Not one of you has ran off and said, oh, Pacific is into lesbian scenes, I'm out of here. Not one of you. I focus a lot on women. So people say that I hate women. I don't. I gotta be honest, women are downright sexy. And I admit it. Even white women. But I think white women in our culture tend to be more uptight than the rest of them. Get over yourselves. We're all struggling, and let's get real. I'm not here to create a hate for them. I'm not here to say I'm better than them. I'm admitting to you that I struggle deeply with these things every day. Anyways, this is Pacific just being honest. Happy Monday, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.